Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Am I audible?
Morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Very good morning,
Yes.
Harish. You are audible.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
So, yeah, thank you. Yesterday, in the afternoon session, we did two programs, first program and second program. So in the second program, at the end, when I was explaining how to delete an item from the shopping list, uh, there was less time because we did that when we were at the end of the session. So I just wanted to show in the lab program too. So this part, remove. Okay. I'm just I've written here console dot log function called just only for my purpose in order to check whether this function is being called or not. So I can comment this out. Now here, what I'm doing is I'm accessing my list, shopping items list. This list I'm accessing. And then on that, I'm invoking the execution of index of. Okay, index of is a method which is used in order to know the index of the item which is there in the list. So I'm passing the item here, the selected item, the item which you select from the drop down, I'm passing as argument. Now what this method is going to return me is it's going to return me the index value of this particular selected item from the drop down. If this item is not there, say for example, the item, you're not selected any item at all, what index of is going to do? It's going to return -1 value. In that case, I'm just saying an alert message, please select an item to remove. In case if you have selected some item from the drop down, it comes to the else part. And here I'm just getting the index of that particular item, assigning it to the variable with the name index, and then making a call to splice method in order to remove that from the list. See, what splice method takes is, so this method is not only used for the purpose of removing an item from the list, but this can also be used for adding the items to the list. So let me spend some time explaining this method now. I guess you people can see my slide.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. So splice method, as already told, adds or removes uh, array elements. So, and what are the parameter it takes? First is the index, so which says the beginning from where you should go for adding or removing. And the second argument is optional argument, which says how many. Say, for example, from this from some index, you need to go for deleting few items. How many to delete? And this second argument is an optional argument. It is not a compulsory argument, mandatory argument. It is an optional argument. And after second argument, you can go for providing the list of items separated by commas. So all this list of items, what you give separated by commas, so they will be inserted into the list. Okay. So here, just by writing one splice, it is possible for you to remove an item also and add few items also. Say, for example, index I mentioned here as 2. Okay, index is 2. And here I say 1. And here I assume I'll write two items, item 1 and item 2. What it's going to do, at the index 2, it will delete one item. And from the index 2, it's going to add two more items. So that is how splice method works. Okay. I have the example here. You can just have a look into this example. See, I have the list of fruits here: banana, orange, mango, apple, the one which I created yesterday. And I'm calling splice method on this list now, list of fruits. So what is my index? This is compulsory, mandatory argument. 2, what is I'm giving? And 1 is how many to delete and how many to add. So at the index, so this is at the banana is at the index 0, and orange is at the index 1, and apple is at the index 2. So at this particular index, that is 2, delete one item. What gets deleted right now? Apple gets deleted. And in this position, two more items will be added. Apple will be deleted. lemon and kiwi will be added. So your new list will become banana, orange, lemon, kiwi, mango. Okay. So this it is possible for you to delete as well as add. So this particular example, what I'm showing now is adding an item to the list, sorry, two items to the list, and also deleting one item from the list. Say, for example, I want to delete apple and mango both. Then your second argument will be 2. Correct, right? At the index 2, delete 2 items. So how many items are there? Apple and mango. So if you want to delete these 2, give this argument as 2. And say I want to add lemon and kiwi. So after orange, what fruit gets added is lemon, and after that kiwi. Okay, so and you can go for printing. Okay, so this is how the splice method works. But in our program, we are not using splice method for the purpose of adding any element. So for adding an element to the list, we are using the push method. So this is another way of doing it. And here I just want to delete. So what I'm doing, I'm just mentioning the index from where I need to delete and how many items to delete. One item to delete, and so third argument onwards it is ignored, correct, right? Because I'm not giving any third argument. I don't have the list of items to be added. It is not necessary for you to mention it. Now what splice method does now, it is going to delete an item from the list. Okay. So I guess you people understood. So splice method works. Is that clear? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Let me run this once. So this is how it looks. These are the default items which are already added into the list. Now I want to add a new item. I click on this. Add item. So item is added to your shopping list. So similarly, you can also go for removing. Say without adding any item, if I click on add item, so we are displaying the alert saying please enter an item to add. So that is what we are checking here. See here. So item should be there, and the item should not be already existing in the list. Correct, right? Then only it gets added into the list. Otherwise, it comes to the else part. And again, I check if there is an item. I say this item is already existing in the shopping list. So if there is no item specified and simply clicking on the add button, it says please enter an item to add. Sorry, enter an item to add. See now, it says enter an item to add. I say, for example, I write Apple itself. Apple is already there in my shopping list. If I click on add again, it says this item is already in the shopping list. Orange, I've added orange to my shopping list. So I can also remove. Say I don't want banana. Let me show without selecting anything. So I don't select anything. If I click on remove, it says please select an item to remove. Now go and select, say, for example, I don't want banana. Remove. So it does remove. So we have removed all shopping list. List of shopping items are empty right now. So if you want to again want the shopping list to be get filled with the default values, just refresh it. So the default values which we have already written inside the list, shopping items list will appear there. Okay, this is the second program. I guess all of you have executed this program at your end. Okay, so now before going to the third lab program, so I just wanted to give few sample programs. I will try out few sample programs and then we'll go to the third lab program. Is the clarity of the text proper for online? For them, it will be good.
Yes, sir.
You
Sir,
also connect online. Better.
excuse me,
Mute.
sir.
You listen. Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
Uh, Sir, here I think you haven't shared the code with the validation part, the
I have
yesterday's
shared.
code
No, 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 no.
with valid.
Yeah, complete. I've shared at the end. The last program. Initially, I shared when it was done off. And after completing the whole
Okay,
program, I've shared one more thing. You can check, madam. It's there in the
okay.
WhatsApp group. The complete program is
That
there.
is with validation, sir. Remove
Yes, madam.
item
Yes, madam.
validation as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
That I know, but ನಾನೇನು ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಯು ಗೆಟ್ ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಏನು ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. Okay, now we'll do few sample programs and then we will start with the lab program number 3. Go back to VS Code. So let me show you a simple program for adding two numbers, okay? On click of a button. And then because the next lab program is the calculator program. So lab program number 3 is develop a simple Angular JS calculator application that performs basic mathematical operation, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division based on the user input. So I request others to please be on mute. So before I start with this actual lab program number 3, we'll just do one simple program. So go back to VS Code. So these many examples is what we have done in the yesterday's class. Okay. Lab program number 1, I showed it in 2 ways, and the lab program number 2. So now click on this and create one more folder. I've already told you how to do this. Just select the whole thing. See, the whole thing is selected and click on new folder. Just name it as add PGM. Now inside this, let me create another file, add pgm.html. So write the program now. You can say addition program. Head. So what I have to write now? What I have to do? I have to bring Angular script into the scope of your HTML page. So without bringing that script into the scope of your HTML page, it is not possible for you to use any of directives. Okay. So we'll bring the Angular 2 into the scope of our web page now. Script type is equal to text. Is equal to I'll note what him. JavaScript src. So please write that complete path. HTTPS AngularJS slash angular.min.js. Okay, I've added the script. So now we'll create the Angular module.
Can't see your new screen, sir. The lab to program still it is showing.
Madam, I think you have network latency, madam, because I've shared my entire
I have,
screen.
yes, you have shared, but still it is showing lab to program for me.
That's what you have network latency at your end, madam. It will take some time for getting updated.
Okay,
So
sir.
you're not receiving in real time. So because of the network, please try to connect to a better network Wi-Fi.
Now it is coming, sir.
Okay, madam. Okay. Angular dot module. So uh, any name you can give, but I try to use the same thing, my app. Or you can go for naming it by giving the relevant name. Say, for example, this is addition program. You can just say add app, something like this. Add app. But I'm used to giving my app. Let me go with this itself. And then dependency list. It is empty right now. And then app dot controller, my controller function, pass the controller scope variable, dollar scope, put the semicolon at the end, come back, open the bracket. Okay. Now here. Amsa madam, please mute. Okay. So now we'll take yeah. Before completing this, let us complete our front end. So body. So let us make body tag as the owner of ng app, my app. Now inside this, I'm defining an header tag title, program, and we will have a div tag, and we'll make this div tag as the owner of our controller. ng hyphen controller is equal to my cntrl. So here, let us ask the user to enter the first number. Input type is equal to text. So you give the input type as text itself as of now. I just want to show you the differences. And ng model is equal to, we'll give it as num1. And then br. In the next line, enter second number. Again, place an input control. Type is equal to text. And ng model is equal to num2. Okay. So after this, we'll have a button. Ng click is equal to, we'll call the function add, and we'll call it as, we'll name it as add. So just after this, we'll go for writing using Angular expression for printing the result. Or we'll just do like this. Sum of num1 and num2 is equal to result. So result is not there in our view. So we'll define that in our controller. Okay. So complete it till here. See, I've told the body tag as the owner of Angular application. And within this body tag, I've made this div tag as the owner of the controller, my CNTRL. So, and within that, I've created one text box where the user enters the first number, another text box where the user enters the second number, and then a button. On click of this, we are going to call the method with the name add. And finally, we're displaying the result here. So sum of so and so is equal to so and so. Okay. So now what we will do, we'll go back. I'll give some time for you to complete it till here. Please complete it till here. So is it done till here? Please do confirm me.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now move back to the controller. So inside the controller, we'll go for initializing num1 is equal to 0 initially. Let this be the initial value. And dollar scope dot num2 is equal to 0. And dollar scope dot result is equal to 0. Now here we'll go for within this controller, we'll go for writing the definition of add. So dollar scope dot add is equal to function. Now here, so dollar scope dot result is equal to dollar scope dot num1 plus dollar scope dot num2. So write as it is. Okay. So I'm just trying to find the sum of these two, assign it to result. So result is the controller scope variable, and it can be accessed within your view by using the Angular JS expression. So I have already written here. Okay. So this is what you got to do. Now, if you run this program, what will happen is, so instead of addition, it is going to concatenate. Okay. So our reason I'll tell you. So we got to still do some changes to this program. So let us try to run this as it is. Okay. So if you have completed it till here, save it and go for running. So if I write 78 and 90, so it says still a 0. Just a second. Okay. Result we have assigned 0. Okay, let me just comment this. This I cannot comment. Okay. See, you're not getting the result. Say 78 and 90 is 0. It is saying that's because see this two numbers. So initially we have them as integers. What I can do is I can just make it inside the double quote or single quote also fine. So let us write 0 inside single quote. And this also inside single quote. Now the type of num1 is considered as what? String. Type of num2 is also considered as string, and result is also considered as string. And anything which you read from the text box is also of type what? Text, and it is also string. Now if I run this program, so it will go for concatenating. It will just concatenate them together. Okay. Remove this.
Upon clicking add button, we
Oh,
are getting.
sorry. We are not calling them. Thank you, madam. Thank you. Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. I was not clicking on the button. Okay. Now here 0 and okay. So this is not in. It's not necessary to write inside the double quote. Okay. So now if I write two numbers and click on add. So what it is doing? Concatenating. So this function should be called, right? Because in the previous yesterday's class and all, we were dynamically interfacing it with the view. So as and when you're typing, it was getting displayed, right? I was still in that mode. So I forgot to click on the button add. Thank you. So when you click on the button add, what it is basically doing is not addition, it is concatenating them. So what you have to do is you need to go for converting them into integer before adding. How do we convert? So you got to cast them to integer or to float, whatever you want. So let me parse it to float. Sorry. Parse float. Say everything follows camel case notation. P is in lowercase and F is in uppercase. And then here again, parse float. Okay, do this much. Save.
Sir, that add function you have made as parse lost the next function you've taken for
Sorry,
num1.
madam.
So for
Ah.
num1 result,
Ah.
your parse FLOST, you have taken a wrong function.
Oh, okay. Name.
FLOAT.
Yeah. Thank you, madam. FLOAT. Okay, madam. Thank you. Okay, save and now run. So you have to click on add. So now you can see the result. Okay, so it is adding. So what we did now, we converted the num1, which is in string format, to float, and then we performed the addition. So either you can go for casting it to float or integer. So if I don't want to cast it to float or integer over here, and without casting, if I want to perform the addition, then what I have to do? So you got to do some changes in your view. So let me share this program as it is. So please try to execute it to your end before I make the changes. Okay. So this is the program for adding two numbers, and we are casting them to float here inside our function. So now let me modify this. So I don't cast them. I don't do the type conversion. So here, instead of text, you define it as number. So type of the input field itself, you say it as number. So do this changes and refresh. Say when you define the type as number, if you just focus the text box, you get this up arrow and down arrow. So you can go for incrementing there itself. Okay, so now add, you can see the result. See, if you're creating in view the text boxes which takes the normal text, normal strings, so you cannot add them simultaneously. You cannot do any mathematical operations on them because they will be in string format. So what you need to do is you got to go for converting them into the appropriate type and perform the mathematical operation. So otherwise, while in the view itself, while creating the text box, you just mark it as number. Okay. So I guess you people understood this. Hello. Hello. Is it done?
Yes, sir. Done.
Yes, madam. I'll share this code. I'm sharing this. So this is the program without type conversion. So this is one example. Okay. Next. So with this example, I think we're good to go with the next lab program. So let me just open the question again. See here. Develop a simple JS calculator application that performs the basic mathematical operation, addition, subtraction, only these operations what you got to do based on the user input. So we'll start to do it. So do you need time to complete these two sample programs? Or shall I start? So please confirm.
Sir, wait a minute, sir.
Yeah. So please try to execute both the programs and observe the results. Okay. And also look at the changes made. Is it done?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, madam.
Sir, while I was trying to run this program, I'm like soon I copied the program and pasted in the code Visual Studio Code. It
Yes,
is
ma'am.
taking me the complete program is coming in and output when I click on run. What went wrong?
That means you not copied it properly. Just check whether you missed the document type, here, the brackets, angle brackets.
Probably. Yes,
So
sir.
go to
I'll
the
check
top,
that.
madam. Just go to the top and
Yes, sir.
check. Yeah.
Oh, sir, it's there as well. HTML
Check.
docs are there.
Yeah. Closing is there. You check.
Yes.
Just a second, madam.
Probably some problem with my end, sir. The other programs all were working fine. Only,
Okay.
oh, yes, sir. I haven't given extension dot HTML. Sorry.
Okay. Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay. Shall we start with the next? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let me show you how we'll be doing this. Again, this program, you can do it in two ways. I'll just show the first way now. It all depends on how you design, that's all. Okay. See, we are going to first give the title as Angular JS simple calculator. Angular JS simple calculator, and just below this, uh, enter first number. So a text box where you enter the first number, and so if you want, you can read the second one from the next line, okay? Or else you can continue with the same. What I've done is something like this. Enter the first number. You will be entering the first number here, and then it will go for asking you to choose the operator or select operator. Select operator will be having a drop down box for this. From the drop down box, you can go for choosing the required operator, plus, minus, into, divide. So that is how we'll be implementing it. So this is the drop down. And next, in the same line, I go for after you select the operator. Enter the second number. And one more text box for it. And you can have a button for displaying the results. You can just say compute. So this is how we'll be doing, and we go for displaying the result over here. Result. Okay. So the result comes in. So this is how we'll be designing now. We'll start. So if you want, you can take the photo of this. Okay. So because same pattern I'll follow when I'm designing my web page. Okay. So let us go back to VS Code now. So or you just have the mental picturization of this. Okay. This design, what I've shown here. So exactly like this we'll be designing now. So go back to VS Code. So select, click on new folder, call this as lab3, new file, lab3.html. Okay. You can start now. So don't wait for me. So I've shown you how the design should look like. So start creating something like this. Okay. Start. So name this as AJS Angular JS simple calculator. Add script tag. So then Angular dot min dot JS. Manjula madam, please your unmute. Mute madam. Manjula madam. Okay. Now we'll go for defining the module. Where app is equal to Angular dot module. So I'll give Calci app. So as the name of the module, no dependency. Okay. Now app dot controller. We'll give the name of the controller as CALC CNTRL, Calci controller, comma function dollar scope. Okay, this much. Write this much in the module part and keep it ready. And please do write this inside the ed tag. Sorry, I forgot to write ed. So make sure that you have this entire script inside the ed. Okay. So please enclose this inside the ed. So write it till here. Is it done? So for the first time, I've changed the name of the module. So module name, I've taken it as Calci app, and controller name, I've taken it as Calci controller. So is it done till here? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next. So we'll complete our view part, designing. Body ng-app is equal to name of my app is now Calci app. Okay. So we'll have a div tag inside it. Okay, first let me write the title H1. So in the design, we had done it like this. AngularJS simple calculator. Simple calculator. Just after this, take a div. So division tag and make this as the owner of controller. ng controller is equal to, so name of the controller is Calci controller. Okay. Now inside this, so I have to go for creating all these things. All these things. We'll do that now. So first is enter the, just say enter first number and input. So tell me what is the type we'll give now? Are you going to take it as text or number? Number. So if you're taking it as number in the control, you have to go for doing the conversion. Okay, so not necessary. We can directly say input type is number, and then ng hyphen model is equal to, we'll call it as number. Okay, so we have done the first part. Next, I'm not giving any line break now because I want all this thing to be on the same line. Okay, enter second, sorry. Next thing is operator, what I need. You can see here. Yeah. According to our design, select operator. And we should go with the drop down. Select operator. Now you need to use the select tag ng hyphen model is equal to, you give it as operator. So name it as operator. Okay. So usually all names will take it in lowercase later. So operator in small case I'm writing. ng model operator. So close this, and inside this you need to create the options. So yesterday we understood how to fill this drop down using ng options directive. So that is not necessary. If you want to use ng options directive in the controller, you have to define the list of all the operators, and then you can use ng operator here, sorry, ng options here, and fill your drop down with all the operators which are defined inside the list present inside your controller. You can do that. So, but we'll add it. Option. We'll say value is equal to add and plus. So in the drop down, it will display it as plus, but whenever you select plus, its value is what? Add. Okay. So similarly, one more. Option value is equal to, we'll say subtract and minus. Option value is equal to multiply and star. Option value is equal to div slash, or you can use this also. What is it? Okay, so we'll use slash. Okay, so let us check whether it is working fine till here or not. Okay, we'll see whether my drop down, correct, right, is getting filled with all these things. Okay, so I'll save this. Let me close this previous program and run. We'll go for testing it then and there itself. Okay, see, Angular JS simple calculator. Enter the first number. Okay. And select operator. Just check whether everything is fine. Yes, plus, minus, into, divide. All operators are there. That means till here it is fine. So please try to complete till this stage. So complete till here. Is it done till here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, so next number as per the design. Enter second number. Again, input type is equal to number. Ng model is equal to num2. So why we are giving this ng model? Because we want to access this, correct, right? So the data, what we write in this HTML control, we need to access that in our controller. So to do this, it is necessary for you to define it, define ng model and a name to it. So through this num1, I can access whatever you write here in my controller. So this is also done. So after this, we need a button saying compute. Okay, so you can save and refresh and check once. Yes, second, you have the text box for the second one also. Okay, so now button. Button ng click is equal to, we'll call a method with the name compute and compute. So save the program, refresh and check. Here you are. So done. So first number, operator, second number, compute. Okay, so we are almost done with the design part. Next, what we have to do, result we have to display, right? So result will display it in a new line. Okay, so put a break here. And you can say num1 plus oh sorry. We'll write inside one expression. Num1 plus space. I need a space. And then again concatenate. So we'll display the operator here. Operator plus again and a space plus num2, or directly you can just display result also. All this thing we'll first display the result and later we'll update all these things. We'll just say result. Okay, and we'll just make it bold. I'll just cut this whole thing and put it inside B tag. I'm just trying to make it bold. Okay, that's all. So this much. So let me save and refresh and check. Okay, so result we have not yet defined in our controller. That is the reason it is printing as it is. Okay, we'll define it. So now after completing till here, come back to controller. So initially we'll initialize our numbers num1 to 0 and $scope dot num2 to 0 and $scope dot result to 0. We initialize all of them to 0 and we'll check whether it is working fine. ng controller. Yep, okay. Controller. Let me close this and run it again. Sorry. So let me inspect. There is some mistake. And go to console. Okay, it's saying Angular not defined. Let me check. So this is correct. ANGULAR text slash. Oh, here I've written the spelling wrong. Java SCRIPT. I is missing. So now if I refresh, okay, so it's correct. So whenever you don't get after saving the program and when you're checking if you're not getting the result, please do inspect the program. Until and unless you don't inspect the program. So by right clicking, go to inspect. Well, the moment you click on inspect, it will take you to the developer console. So there you can go to console and if there are any errors, you'll get here. Okay, so please make a bit of looking at the developer console for checking the errors if there are any. So here Any number of times, if you keep refreshing, you'll not come to know what is the mistake you've done. So if you'd like to know what is the mistake you've done, so then always you should go to inspect and so check into the console. Okay, so right now there are no errors, so nothing is there. So if there are any errors, it will display here. So from here, you'll get to know what are the mistakes you have made, and you can go for correcting them accordingly. Okay, so I'm closing this. So far it is fine now. So operators are there. First number, initially I'm initializing it to 0. Second number, I'm initializing it to 0. And what about the operator? Operator is nothing there, correct, right? So what we will do is, so default operator, we will make it as plus. So whenever run my application instead of blank, so I want a plus operator to be there always. So what we will do, so go back again. So just as we initialize num1, num2 and result, similarly, we'll also initialize our operator. So what is the ng model for operator? Sorry, select, it is operator itself. You can see here. Okay. So dollar scope dot operator is equal to. So if I want the plus to be selected by default there, what is that I need to use? For plus, what is the value? Add. So I have to write add over here. OP people are able to follow. So ng model for my select tag is operator. Dollar scope dot operator is equal to add, because I want plus operator to be selected by default. Okay. Now, if I save this and refresh, just a second. Added. Oh, sorry, I have written operator. Yeah, sorry. I have written operator spelling wrong. OPERATOR. Okay. So please make a correction. Operator spelling was written wrong.
Sorry, 18th lines dollar scope dot num1 is equal to 0 where indicated. This line only for the output, initially the value is 0. That purpose only we are indicating the 18th line is correct, sir.
Sorry, sir, I didn't get you. Sir, there is a lot of disturbance, background noise.
Sir, in 18th line,
Yes, sir.
dollar scope dot
Yeah.
num. This line for the purpose of initially we indicating as a 0 value.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Initially, we are taking 0 as the value in our input type number.
Okay, sir. Okay. As we change the 0 as a 1, we can able to change the number in
Yes, sir. Yes,
output.
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, you can initialize it to any default value. Any default value.
Sir, scroll down to the 34th line, sir.
34th.
Yes, sir. Sir, here the 34th line we are indicating the option value equal to double quotation add.
Yeah.
Here we can able to change add as a plus symbol.
Yeah, sir, in the drop down, I want to display them as operators, plus, minus, into, equal. Whenever you select plus, so its value is taken as add, sir. Whenever you in the drop down you select plus, it gets the value add. I've taken it as add here. If you want, you can write anything. Say, for example, simple A also you can write. Whatever you want, you can write, sir.
But we can able to change as any symbol.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can. You can, sir. Say you mean to say you want to write plus here and add here.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. You can do, sir. You can do, sir.
Okay.
In the drop down, you get add, ADD, SUB, UUL, DIV like this. Whenever you select add, it gets the value as plus.
Okay.
So you can do that way also.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Sir, please mute, sir.
Okay, sir. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. So I've saved my program. The problem was the operator spelling was wrong here. Scope dot operator is equal to add. Now if I refresh, say by default we have plus already selected. Okay, so plus is already selected. So I've made default operator as the plus. Okay, next what we do, we go for writing the first number here, select the required operator and write the second number and we click on compute. When I click on compute, I want the mathematical operation to happen and display the result accordingly. So what we do, we here write the definition for the function compute. So right, you know now, again, you got to be writing it inside the controller. So don't write it outside the controller. So dollar scope dot, the name of the function is compute. So please do verify what function name you're given. Name of the function is compute is equal to function. So what we will do now is we'll use the switch operator, switch function. Switch dollar scope dot operator. Okay. Or else you can also use a simple if else statement. So we'll go with the switch. Okay. So case add. Say if you have selected the operator as plus, where it comes to the case add. And here what you have to do, sorry, we have already defined result. Dollar result, sorry, dollar scope dot result is equal to dollar scope dot num1 plus dollar scope dot num2. Okay, and then we'll do this. So after adding and the result is assigned to result, so you can go for clearing those two text boxes. How do we do that? Dollar scope dot num1 is equal to initialize them back to 0. That's what num1 to 0, dollar scope dot num2 to 0. Okay, if you want, otherwise we don't want to initialize them back to 0. You can skip this. Okay, and then break. Next case subtract. So similarly, write for subtract dollar scope dot result is equal to dollar scope dot num1 minus dollar scope dot num2. So after this also, again, you go for initializing them back to 0. Num1 is equal to 0. Dollar scope dot num2 is equal to 0. And then break. So case multiply. So for multiply, see all this add, subtract and multiply what you're writing now, it should match with what? It should match with these things. The values what you're given inside the option tag. So I've taken it as add, subtract, mul, and div. Same thing I'm using. So in case if you written full subtract sub, stract, so you have to write full. Okay. So dollar scope dot result is equal to, so dollar scope dot num1 into dollar scope dot num2. $scope dot num1 is equal to 0. $scope dot num2 is equal to 0. So next case div, and here we'll check if $scope dot num2 equal to 0. What we will do is alert divide by 0 error. Else, if denominator is not 0, you can go for performing the operation. So $scope dot result is equal to $scope dot num1 divided by $scope dot num2. Okay, next. So that's all. Default is not required because by default it will do addition even if you're not selecting anything and click on compute. So this much. So we need to just check now whether this is working fine or not. We'll try to do that. So just see whether completed it till here. Completed till here. So we are almost finishing the program number 3. So let me check whether it does work. Refresh. Okay. So let me give some input 66, 76, 89 and places the operator compute. Yeah, it is working. And the values are initialized back to 0. Okay. I don't want to initialize. I want to do multiple operations. So let us remove them. Not required. They're not necessary. So Control S. Refresh. So 67, 90, compute 157. Say I want to do subtraction. I'll select. So now the values are still there. Correct, right? I just say compute. So subtraction result, multiplication. Oh, sorry. And divide, I think it gave for divide. I made a mistake here. Let us check. Multiply, okay. Madam? Oh, sorry, break is not there. So it is continuing with the next case. Sorry, add a break after multiplying. Okay, that's fine. Control S. Refresh. Compute, addition, compute, subtraction result, multiplication result, divide. So result of division. Okay. So if you want to make this look more meaningful, as I already told, so we'll just go back and update our angular expression here. Instead of just printing the result, so let us say num1 plus and then operator plus num2 plus add an equal to plus result. So this prints more meaningfully now. Refresh. See, oh, It's saying add, right? So we are not getting the okay. 0 add 0 is 0, correct. 89, 90, compute. Plus. Now if I say subtract and this 89 subtract 90 is -1. And if I select into 89 multiply 90 is this, and divide this. Okay. So as one of the sir asked, so here if you take add, subtract, multiply, and division, okay, inside this you can have the operators. Okay, value is equal to plus, minus, into, divide. Okay, so anything is fine.
In this code, we can able to join this how to find the prime number also.
Yes, sir, you can. You can do. Only thing is, say for example, you're giving some input, and if you want to say it is a prime, the only thing is in the controller you need to write a function where the logic is there, which finds whether that number is prime number or not. If the number is divisible by 1 and itself, it is a prime number. That is what the logic you need to write. That's all. Yeah. So this is the complete program now. I'll be sharing this in the group. Lab 3. Complete program. So complete the execution of lab 3. And next program also we can do. Fourth program also with the concepts what you know so far. Based on that, even the fourth program can also be completed. But I need to tell you about a few more things, few more NG directives along with the sample programs, and then we will start the fifth program. Okay. So now after you confirm me whether you're done with the execution of the program number 3, I'll start with the program number 4. So if there are any queries, please unmute and ask. Any doubts in the program number 3? So please feel free to ask.
Sir, can you go to the output window, sir?
Output window, sir? Yes, sir.
Yeah. Sir, you clear the two input boxes, first number and second box. Just refresh it, sir. Refresh. No, not
Yeah.
like that. Just refresh it,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Refresh.
Yeah.
See, now if I click on any operator, and if I take division operator, what will be the output?
Now since we have the second number as 0, it alerts and says me divide by 0
Okay.
error. So that is what
So
we have written in our program.
even if we are not giving the input, it will take 0 as a default input.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
By default,
In
0
our
is the
control,
input.
yeah, by default 0 is the default input. So in our controller for division, what we are doing, we are checking if second number is equal to 0, and then we are alerting saying divide by 0 error.
Yeah. But
Divide
thing
by
is,
0 error.
by default input is 0. For both the input, default input is 0.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That is what we have done. We have initialized here.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Others, any other doubt? Okay. Can we proceed with the next program? Fourth one.
Yes, sir. Proceed, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. The program number 4 is also very much similar to the third program. It says write an Angular JS application that can calculate factorial and compute square based on the given user input. You have to take one input from the user, and for that input, uh, based on the user choice, say two buttons will be there, one for computing the factorial, another for computing the square. So if when the user clicks on the factorial, it should give him the factorial of the number. When he clicks on the button compute square, it should give him the square of the given input number. Okay. Simple program. So I think you can try this by yourself. So since we have already done the calculator program, so again, let us create new folder. So select this whole thing, Angular FDP folder, which we created yesterday. Click on new folder, name it as lab4. The name of the folder is lab4. Inside this, I'm creating a file with the name lab4.html. Okay. Now, before starting, let us fix the design. So how they should look like. Uh, we will be designing it exactly similar to this. Only thing is one input should be given as input. One number you have to read as input. So enter the number, one text box for that. And after that, two buttons should be there. One for computing the factorial and one for computing the square. And just below that, displaying the result. Square of the number is so and so, and factorial of the number is so and so. Okay. So we'll start now. So very simple design. So title. So you can give the title as AJS Angular JS. Square and factorial application. So Angular JS, square and factorial application. Next, it. So bring the Angular script into the scope of the web page. Type is equal to text. So let me write it carefully because the previous program I had made mistake here. JavaScript, SCRIPT, and SRC is equal to Ajax / lips / Angular JS / angular.min.js. Okay. So we'll create the module also. Script where app is equal to Angular dot module. So what name we'll give to this? My SQFCT, square and factorial module. So whatever name you want, you can give. Okay. And then app dot will create the controller. My SQ FCT CNTRL. So try to give the small word as much as possible. Function $scope. Okay. So we'll keep this much ready here. So we'll go and complete the view part now. Body. So let me make the body tag as the owner of Angular app. ng-app is equal to my SQ FCT. So now here, just as we did for the previous program, we'll just say it as Angular JS factorial and a square application. So H1 Angular JS factorial and square application. So take a div and make this as the owner of controller. ng-controller is equal to, so let me copy and paste from here. Okay, so inside this, now we need to create a prompt for prompt the user to input one number. Okay, enter the number. Again, input type is equal to number. Make it as number. Don't make it as text. And ng model is equal to say num, because we are reading only one number, right? Give it as number. Num1, num2 is not necessary. Okay. So after this, in the same line, we will go for creating two buttons. Button ng click is equal to 1 for computing fact, right? FACT factorial. I'm calling the function. We'll write it full. FACTORIAL factorial. Close and so display on the button as factorial. Factorial. So another button. So are you people doing along with me?
Yes, sir. Just I'm watching.
Yeah. Okay. So another is SQUARE. Square function. And you can just say instead of factorial, you can just say compute factorial. And here we'll say compute square. Okay, and just below this in the new line, I need to display the result. Okay. We'll just say this. Okay, so I'm saving this. We'll check whether it is fine till here. I'll close this. The previous application. I'm closing this and run without debugging. Okay. So we have a text box which is of type number and one button for computing the factorial, another button for computing the square. So those are doing along with me. Please do complete it till here. Then I'll show you how to write the controller.
Sir, here no default value in the input box.
Yeah, we can define, sir. Right now, I've not given any default value. So
Suppose
because
if
I've
I
not yet
click,
defined the controller itself.
because here if you don't have input by clicking the command button, it
Yeah.
needs to display an error message.
Where, sir? When I click on this right now.
Yeah, if you click on the button,
Factorial. Sir,
factorial.
we not define the function itself. The function factorial and
Okay.
square is not yet written in the controller. We don't have anything in the controller right now.
Okay, yes, sir.
Just the dummy buttons now, because there is no functionality
Yes,
associated with those buttons because we are not yet written.
Yes,
so we have to write it yet.
Even after giving the functionality, if we
Yes,
click
sir.
on the button without giving the input, means it has to show the error message.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Yes.
If nothing is there, then we can only display the alert message saying, please do input the number.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So please do complete it, Ilya. Okay. So if you completed it, Ilya, again, we'll initialize the input to 0 initially. Okay, dollar scope dot. So what is our ng model name? Num. Num is equal to 0. We'll initialize it to 0. Say I'm initializing it to 0. Initially, so it is initialized to 0. Now you got to go for taking. Yeah, result I need to define. Sorry. So dollar scope dot result. Okay, one variable I'm creating here, and we'll go for writing the definition for the function. First, we'll write it for factorial, and then we will write it for square. How to write? So dollar scope, name of the function, factorial is equal to function. Okay. So now what I have to do, whenever the number is 0, correct, right? 0 factorial is what? 1. Okay. So here, if dollar scope dot num, if it is equal to 0, we have to assign dollar scope dot result is equal to 1. Okay. Else if we can take a file for where I is equal to 1. Okay, so say 5 factorial, 5 into 4 into 3 into 1 I need to do. Okay, so I is equal to dollar scope dot num. So and I greater than equal to 1, I plus plus. Okay. So what I have to do inside this, and before that, in the else, we'll take another local variable, dollar scope dot fact, and we'll initialize it to 1. Okay. Here dollar fact, sorry, dollar scope dot fact is equal to dollar scope dot fact into I. Okay. And finally, we need to assign after we come out of this for loop. So dollar scope dot result is equal to what it is. Dollar scope dot fact. Oh, sorry, this is I minus. We have to decrement. So I minus minus it is. So because initially we're initializing, say for example, the number which you're inputting is 5. I is 5. 5 is greater than or equal to 1, true. So we are multiplying 1 into 5, correct, right? And then the new factorial is 5. Go back, it gets decremented by 1 more. And now I value is how much? 4 greater than or equal to 1. So current previous fact was 5. 5 into 4, 20. It goes like this. Okay. And finally, the factorial which is available in fact, we are assigning it to result. So this is the factorial. First, we'll check factorial and then we'll go for doing the square. So let me do Control S and let us check whether it does work. So 0, let us try with 0. 0 factorial is what? I need to get it as 1. See, I'm getting it as 1. Okay. So result is 1. So now let me give 2 factorial is 2. 3 factorial is 6. 5 factorial is 120. So factorial of 10, so much. Factorial of 100, so much. Okay. So we are done with the factorial now. So similarly, we got to find the compute the square of the number. So square is easy. Again, see, 2 functions we got to write now inside this controller. So controller is starting from here and it is going till here. Okay. Within this controller, I have the factorial function. So starting from here and ending here, just come out of the first function factorial and go for writing the definition for square. Square is equal to function. So square is easy. Dollar scope dot result is equal to dollar scope dot num into dollar scope dot num. That's all. So a simple function for square. So we'll refresh and check whether this is also working fine. So square of 0 is 0 itself. Square of 4, 16. Square of 5, 25. So I click on compute now. It gives you the factorial of 5. So both the things are working fine. So this is the program. So please try to do at your end. So any doubts in this? Anything to ask? Okay. So I'll share this in the group. Lab 4 complete program. Okay. So please try to execute till here. Now we will take a short tea break, 10 to 15 minutes, and then we'll again join. You can just be there online. Okay. Don't leave the call. Mute yourself. You can have tea and join back as by 11:40. Okay. So 11:40, worst case by 11:45. Okay. So welcome back after tea. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Audible, sir.
Okay, sir. Next, before going to the next program, fifth one. So develop an Angular application that displays the details of the students with their CGPA and allow the user to read the number of students and display the count. Okay, so the student details may be included in the program. So this is what is the question. And before starting this, let me show you 2 to 3 sample programs. And then after understanding the basics required for doing this program, we will start with this. Okay. Uh, so next thing is, so far you learned how to write a simple variable inside the controller scope variable, initialize it with the primitive values. And later in the yesterday's class, we also learned about writing a list. Now we'll try to learn how to create the list of objects. Okay. And how do we access those list of objects in our view? So that is what I'll show you now by writing a simple program. Okay. So again, go to VS Code. So click on this. Before that, let me show you how to write the list of objects. So you create list of objects, something like this. So this is the list, an empty list. So inside this, I need the list of objects. Okay. Say SID, I of the student, colon. Everything is a key value pair inside the object. Say ID is 123, comma, uh, say name. The name of the student. So this is one key value pair. This is another key value pair. Okay. And then let me say semester D. And then department also will write DPT. CSE. So student ID, name, semester, department, and will also add marks. So 98. So I'm closing. This is the student data, one student data. So which is in the form of the JSON object. So it is, they're all the key value pairs. So within this object, one key value pair is separated from the other key value pair by using the comma, and the key value pair are themselves separated by a colon. So this is one student data. So let me put a comma and go for writing another student data. I'm copying this whole thing. So pasting it here. So I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
Okay. So now a different name. Semester. ECE. Say marks 99. Okay. So one more student data. So I need to put a comma here. And again, I can go for writing one more student data. Say ID with the 25. So some name ABC. So semester and the department and marks. So this is the end. Say I want 3 students. So I need to end the list. So what is this now? This is the list of student objects. Okay, how many student objects I have? 3 students. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we will try to define this type of data in our controller, and we'll try to access that in the view and try to display this data. So all this data. Say for example, I want to display the ID of the first student. How do I display? So name of the first student. How do I display? How do I display the marks of the third student? So let us try to do this. Okay. So first, let us define one student data. We'll try to display details of one student object we will create, and later we'll create object with multiple students. So list of objects with multiple students, and then we will try to uh, uh, read this complete object in our view and display it in the table format. So 2 programs I'll be showing on this now. So let us start. So click on new folder. So call this as I think yesterday I created. Have I created? No. So let us say list of, or let us say student object, just a student object. So inside this, let me create a file, student obj.html. So request others to mute. Okay. So let us write now document type HTML. So title. So I'll call this demo on reading the object data. So add script type is equal to JavaScript. src is equal to ajax slash libs slash 1.8.2 slash sorry AngularJS ANGULAR AngularJS slash 1.8.2 slash ANGULAR angular.min.js. Okay. So understanding of this program which I'm doing now and the next program which I'll be doing is necessary for understanding the 5th lab program. So because these 2 programs are mainly focused on how to create the list of objects and how do we go for reading those list of objects in the view. Okay. So and after this, let us also add the Angular module where app is equal to Angular dot module. So I'll give the name of the module as student app, STUD. Let me call it as app, comma. So next app dot controller. So my you can say student app controller function dollar scope. So now we are going to create the student object dollar scope as I showed you here in the PPT. So these are the list of student objects. Okay, so we'll not go for creating multiple student objects. We'll just create one student object and we'll try to access it in our view. And later we'll create one more list of student objects with multiple student objects, and we'll try to create a table view in the HTML, and we'll try to populate the table with the information of the student. So scope dot I'll just give STUD OBJ student object is equal to. Okay, so this is just one object, right? It is not necessary for you to use the list. So you need not write them inside the list. This is only just one object. You can just open the curly bracket and close the curly bracket. So this says it is a dictionary object. Okay. So let us go for having all this information which I showed you here in the PPT. So student ID, name, semester, department, and marks, all these things. So student ID, I call it as SID. Say ID of the student is this, or you can write USN itself, 1BI20. So this is a string, 1BI20CS001. So comma and name of the student, say Harish, and then semester of the student. So let us write department first. DEPT CSE, and then semester, say 7, and then say for integer and float, that is not necessary for you to write it inside the single quote. Okay, semester 7, that's all. And one more, marks. Okay, let me write 98. So this is my student object now, so which is defined here. So let us go. So inside my controller, I've just defined my student object within the controller scope. Go into the body. So make this as the owner of NG app. So name of the app is STUD app. Now all your NG directives works within this body tag right now. You can go for accessing. So div and we'll make this as the owner of controller is equal to student app controller. So within this, we'll go for accessing this information and print it. So let me first access student ID. So how do I display? I can go for displaying it using object, name of the object. It is STUD OBJ dot SID. Okay. So I'm displaying the student ID, then I'm breaking for the new line. Look here. So this is an object. So within this object, I have SID of the student stored. So what this is going to do now, it's going to print the USN of the student. Okay, next. So student name. So student object dot name. And then we have next is department. Student department dot DEPT. So this what you're writing here, this is the key. This is the key here, and this is the value. So this is the key value pair, okay, separated by a colon. So if you want to get the value, you need to give the name of the object dot key. What is the key? SID. So it is going to fetch you the value. So this is 1BI20CS001, and similarly, it's going to get you the name Arish, CSE, semester, and marks. So next is student SEM. Student object dot SEM. And then student marks. Student obj dot marks. Okay, this much. Say this is the object, student object, and we are trying to access this student object within our view. We'll just save this and run this. See, we're able to access. This is all the data, student data, which were defined inside our controller. Sorry. So this is what we have defined inside the data which were defined inside the controller, and that is what is read and displayed. Okay. OP people understood how to define an object inside the controller and how to access the same in the view. Is this clear? I need your confirmation. So are you able to follow
Yes,
this?
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now I'll just show one more after this. So this is just with one object. So we'll go for creating the list of objects and populate that list of objects, student objects, using an HTML table in the view. Okay. And we'll also make use of ng repeat for this. So yesterday I showed you how to use ng repeat. So we'll be using ng repeat for populating our HTML table with the details of all the students which are present inside the controller. Okay. So we'll create a different application for that. So again, click on this, okay, and create a new project with the name student list. Okay, so student list, and inside this, let us create a file with the name student list dot html. Okay. So define type, document type. So now I'm going to create the student list, something like this, where it has more than one student, and reading and printing it in the view using an HTML table along with the ng repeat. HTML. So please try to do along with me. At least the sample programs. Okay. So lab programs you can watch when I'm doing, and later when I share, you can go for experimenting with that. At least this small programs, what I'm showing, in order to make you understand the concepts, please try to do along with me. So that you'll get familiar. The title, you can say student list, sorry, demo on list of student objects. Head. So inside this, let us define the Angular script. Type is equal to text / JavaScript. src is equal to ajax.googleapis.com / ajax /libraries /angularjs /1.8.2 angular angular.min.js. Okay, so now we'll write our Angular module also script. So Angular module inside the script tag where app is equal to angular.module. I'll give the name of the module as student list obj. Sorry, student list app. Okay, so now app dot controller student stud list controller CNTRL. Student list app controller, you can say app controller comma function $scope. Okay, so now we'll define the list of objects $scope dot I'll say student list is equal to. So how to define the list? Big bracket. Okay, so this is an empty list now. Inside this, I should have list student objects. How to write an object? Like this. Okay, so I'll just zoom it. Okay, something like this. So let me bring it to the new line because it is not possible for me to write everything in one line, right? I can break here, okay, and bring it to the new line. So you can do this. Okay. And so this one also, let me break and bring it to the new line. So align something like this. So better for better visibility. And now you can go for writing SID colon. Okay, so numbers need not be written inside the single quote. Say SID. Instead of SID, let us make it as USN. And write 1BI anything 20CS 001, comma. Similarly, name of the student ABC, comma, and then DEPT, department of the student, colon. So this is the key, colon, and value. So department, let us say CSC, comma, and then semester, colon 7, comma, marks is one more, MARKS, colon, say 87, 78. So this is one student data. Okay. So one student object. So now similarly, I have to go for yes. Request everyone to mute. Kusuma C. So this is one student object. So similarly, I need to add one more student object. So you need to put a comma here. Okay, so comma, enter. So let me copy this whole thing now. So this is another student object. Okay, with different USN. USN2, name of the student XYZ, and the department, let us say ACE, and 6th semester, and marks is 89. So similarly, one more student we will add with the USN3. So this is EC branch, you can give instead of CSE, EC. And this is double E, and we'll make this as triple E, and this is PQR, and we'll just change the marks to 56. So one more we will add with USN 2, computer science 20CS002, LMN, and department CSE, marks, let me put it to 90. Okay, so this much. So there's a list of student objects what we have created. So look at this. This says it is a list, and these are all the objects. List of student objects. Now we'll see how to access this list of student objects in our view. Okay, so just go after the head, start writing the body. Ng app is equal to, so student list app, and then we'll take header tag and say it as student list, and inside this one div, and ng controller is equal to, this is the name of the controller. Okay, so now inside this div tag, we'll go for writing the table tag. Okay, I'll show you how to write table, and we'll also take border to the table as one. Okay, so inside this, let us define tr. Tr is for row, and th is table header. So what is the first thing? USN, right? USN, and similarly, what is the next one? Name. This is the table header which I'm creating. Sorry. Next th. After name, we have department, and then th. After department, it is semester and marks. SEM. Th. Marks. So I have defined the table header. So just after this table header, let us open one more row tag. So inside this, yeah, okay. In row tag, in this row tag, I'll use ng, because these rows I need to repeat now. Ng repeat is equal to student in what? What is my list name? STUD list. Ng repeat student in student list. Okay, so add ng repeat directive here, and then go for writing td. So inside this, what should be there? So student dot. So this student is going to iterate on every object. So in the first iteration, student is a to this object, the first object, first student object. Now what I do now here, student dot is USN. Okay. So similarly, td, the student dot name. Similarly, TD student dot department, DEPT. Next TD again, student dot semester. Next TD student dot marks. Okay, so we are done. So ng repeat student in student list. So the student ng repeat by default, correct, right? It is going to repeat the execution of this whole TR tag how many times? For the number of times the objects that are present inside the student list. So in the first iteration, the student is pointing to the first object in the student list. And here we are printing the student first USN name, first student USN, first student name, first student department, semester, and marks. So everything we're printing it in the form of the table. So please have a look into this, and if you have any doubts, please let me know. Any doubts? Any doubts?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
So now we'll run this. Save the program. And this is the previous execution. I'm closing this. Go to run without debugging, and in the edge. Look at this. So the data which was there in our controller in the form of list of objects. So we have populated inside the HTML table using ng repeat. Okay. So if you want, you can even go for beautifying this by using the CSS and all. That is all necessary now, not necessary now. So this is enough. Okay. So if you have understood the previous program which I showed you and this program, so we are good to go with the fifth lab program. Okay. And before that, okay. So it is 12:20 now. I don't know if I start the fifth lab program now, it will take some time. So let me give another sample program itself. Okay. So far what we were doing was we were writing our controller within the HTML itself. Okay. So normally when you're writing a very big application, correct, right? The controller size itself will be very big. So you'll be having a module, and within that module, you'll be writing n number of controllers, and in each controller, you'll be having n number of functions defined and lots of data defined, correct, right? All these things. So what we need to do is instead of writing our controller in the same HTML file, it is always a good practice to write the controller in a different JavaScript file. Okay, an external JavaScript file. Okay, and use that script file in your HTML. So that is what I'll be showing you now before the lunch break. Okay, and after the lunch break, we'll do the fifth program. Correct, right? And some sample programs, and then we'll go into the sixth program. So I am planning to complete till sixth program today, and tomorrow we'll just try to plan for completing 3 programs in the pre-lunch session, and 3 more programs in the post-lunch session. Okay, so that is what is my planning, because I need to give a few sample programs also along with the LAMP programs in order to make you understand. Okay, so now we'll just go and try to create one application where we're going to separate our HTML into one file, and the module into another file. Okay, or the controller into another file. So let us just open one more folder. So you can say external controller, and inside this external controller dot HTML. Okay, so this is my HTML file now. So what I'll do is in this, I'll write only the HTML, but Angular script you have to bring into the scope of your web page. That is what you have to do. Or even you can go for writing that also inside the JS, but bringing the Angular script into the scope of the web page, we will write it here only, and our controller will write it in the external JS file. So we'll start. Demo on writing the external controller. Head script type is equal to src, sorry, text slash JavaScript, and src is equal to ajax dot googleapis.com slash ajax slash lips slash angular js slash 1.8.2 slash angular dot min dot js. Say I've added the Angular script into the scope of my web page. So similarly, I'll also go for writing one more script. I was writing earlier the entire Angular module inside the HTML itself. Now I don't do that. So script src is equal to, let me name it as student list dot js, something like this. So even I'm going to write a separate JavaScript file, and that JavaScript file I'll bring into the scope of this web page by writing this script tag. So just as we were doing for our Angular script, we're also doing it for our own script. Okay. So now how to write this, I'll show you. Stud list.js, how to write this, I'll show you. So we will just repeat it for this program itself. The previous program, student list program, what we did. Okay, so go there, click on student list, just copy the same body tag. The whole body tag you copy from the student list and go back to external controller.html. So put this inside. And now what about the controller? So what about the controller? Again, go back to student list.html. Copy this whole controller. Come back to your external controller folder. Create one more file. What should be the name of this file? So name of the file must be this studlist.js. So I'm just, so you can write So as long as the program is very small and simple, so you can go for writing your entire Angular module inside the HTML itself. Okay, it is not necessary for you to create a separate JS file for that. So in case if you're building a very large application, complex application, correct, right, which has too many controllers and in each control too many functions and all, so then it is a good practice to always create a separate external JavaScript file for this purpose. So I'm creating. So I'll name it as studlist.js. See, so inside this folder right now, external controller, and try to keep the JS file under the same directory where your HTML is. So if you're keeping this JS file in a different directory, then in your HTML, correct, right? You cannot just write the name of the JavaScript file. You should also be writing the path where this is present. So for simplicity, what we are doing is we are just keeping the JavaScript file under the same directory. So this is the JavaScript file now. So inside this, I'll paste the one which I copied. Okay, so see my controller is here right now. Okay, so this is my controller. So which is there stored in the external JavaScript file with the name student list. And this external JavaScript file is brought into the scope of my web page here. Okay, so and if the same script is required in one more HTML, it is not necessary for you to repeat the code. You can just create one more HTML and you can bring this JS file into the scope of the other HTML just by writing this. Just by writing this in that HTML, you can easily bring it. Okay. OP people understood what I mean to say? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Now I'm going to run this HTML. So this is the previous run. Let me close. So I'm opening this HTML. I'm trying to run. So it is still the same. It's an external controller. Only thing is my data is there inside an external file. Okay, so where is the data? It is here, student list controller. I brought this old controller into my HTML page by writing this. Okay. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So and one more thing is I think I need to give one more sample program before starting the 5th lab program. So everything that was necessary I've given already. One more thing is, so as per this question, what the question says is develop an Angular JS application that displays the students, details of the students and their CGPA. Okay. Allow the user to read the number of students and display the count. So what we got to do, we got to go for storing the student information as I showed you now here in the controller. So let me take this itself. See, in the controller, I've defined the student details here. Okay. So student details should be stored inside the controller using the student list object. And then you should go for entering the number of students. So you got to make a provision in your web page for the user to enter the number of students and click on the button display. When he clicks on the button display, it should go for displaying the details of all those students. If, for example, he enters 10, it should go for displaying all the 10 student details along with their CGPA. Now, what I'm doing in my program is instead of say, for example, sometimes you give 100. So it is not possible for you to store the details of 100 students here. Can you write 100 student details here inside the list of 100 student objects? It is not possible for you to create. So what I've done in my program is I've used the random function. Okay, so I'm going to generate this list by using the random function. Okay, it generates the random student and it generates the random CGPA for him and it is stored into the list. And later when the user enters says 10, it's going to fetch the 10 student information along with their CGPA and it will display. So that is how the program is written. So I think in that direction, so one more sample program is necessary for showing you how to generate the random numbers. Okay. We'll complete that as well, and we'll go for the 5th program after lunch. Okay, so please do confirm me, is everything okay till here? Is everything okay? Are you people able to follow what I'm saying? I think I've not shared these two sample programs. One is the student object which I created. This one, let me share this in the group. So I am not getting any response. Please do respond. Is everything okay till now?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, madam. So can you put, yeah, I'm doing that now. So example on student object. Say if I'm not writing this properly, please look into the title part of the program. That will clearly explain you what program it is. So title part, if you refer, it will clearly convey what it is. So demo on reading the object. Okay, this is one. And another one is on the list. Example on list of student objects. Okay, so this is done. And one more, this example, external controller, which I did. So let me share this. Example on external controller. In that, this is HTML, HTML5. And the next one is also example on external controller, but JS file. So when you're doing this program, this file you have to save it as std list.js. So just have a look into this because we have given here std list.js. Okay. So I think we'll just do one program on how to generate the random numbers because that is also required for the 5th lab program before. Madam, shall we break for lunch now? Okay, we'll break for lunch now. 2 p.m. We'll directly start with the 5th program. I'll explain you the concept of random number, how to generate the random number there when I'm doing it. So I think it is not necessary for having one more sample program for generating the random number. So this is enough. This is the basic for understanding the 5th program, and we will start it. So thank you all. We'll break for the lunch now and assemble back at 2 p.m. Okay, thank you.